All right. A bit of technical difficulties, with the networks and stuff. And my excuse is that the networks are congested because everyone is at home. So everybody wants to stream and do whatever it is. But anyway, the show must go on. Still with me is GG Alock, who is a businessman and also an author and a political activist. So before we were disconnected, we were talking about your childhood and how you were raised and basically your journey to where you are today. Now, I'd like to know, how did you get the name GG?
Sure, that's a long story, but basically in Zulu, you're either named after a characteristic. So my brother, for instance, is called Umakonya. Tukonya is a bull that bellows, and he's a very loud person, so that's his name. I was named after the government forced removal. So I was named after a time. And basically, my parents were fighting the government who were bulldozing people's homes and moving them off the land. And I was a baby on my mother's hip, and I was called GG after the government number plates of the government vehicles, GG number plate. So it was Iskatska GG. So I was named after a number plate more than a characteristic.
Wow, so named after a number plate, that's like, okay.
Okay, so number plate.
So do you have a car that's GG?
No, yeah.
Okay, now your English name is Mark, but you prefer your Zulu name, GG.
So I've never been called anything except GG. Even my parents have called me GG, so that's how I go with it. And in fact, Johnny Clegg sang a song when I was a child saying, "When's anu GG aganagi nognaga," which means what's GG doing? He doesn't care. And whenever I was a child, when people met me, they'd start singing that song, which was a kind of a struggle song at the time.
Wow. Okay, so since you speak Zulu so fluently and you also have command of other languages, do people look at you weird and stare or ask questions?
I have a lot of fun, because people don't expect the way I look to speak Zulu and or understand the languages. In fact, one of my funniest times was I was at a Pick and Pay and I was writing out a check. And the lady behind the counter said to the lady who was packing my bags, she said, which means look at this white man, he's got hair like a baboon. And I did nothing, and I wrote out the check and I tore it out and I gave it to her. And as I gave it to her, I said, have you ever seen a baboon writing out a check? With which she screamed and she said, "Sorry, boss," and ran and hid behind this pillar. And I thought it was, of course, very funny. I have this a lot, I generally, people just really don't expect that you speak the language to that extent.
Wow, all right, that's great. It's always nice to give people a little shock, because they won't expect it, they don't expect it. So that's nice. And tell us about your books. Why did you choose writing to tell your story?
So I guess my first book was called What I Call Zulu Bread, and it was I really wrote it because I live in Johannesburg. Now I wanted my children to know more about what it was like growing up as a Zulu child. It was very successful, and then I was a lot of business people have always said, what is the opportunities in the space? And I thought, well, you know what, no one really has focused on the space. I wrote Gasinomics and created the concept of Gasinomics based on the term for the township Egasi. And there's no real term for the business that happens in that space. So Gasinomics was basically the economy of the informal sector. Gasinomics was very successful. And I believe there's a revolution happening in that space. There's a sudden emergence of small businesses that never existed before. And these businesses from the sizes that are competing actively and challenging the top right for the world, all the way to the fast food outlets, water outlets, that are competing the formal fast food outlets like McDonald's and KFC. So I believe that, and so gastronomic revolution looked very much at how businesses had destroyed value by not focusing on informal sectors, or some had created huge value by focusing on the sector. It was really about both highlighting township businesses that are very successful and what I call gastronomic revolutionaries on the one hand, and the other hand was to really show the opportunities there, because we have thousands of entrepreneurs in our informal sector throughout Africa, and I didn't write only about South Africa, I wrote about Nigeria. There's these massive opportunities that people often don't realize. People living in those spaces don't realize the big opportunities for creating businesses and entrepreneurship literally around them in the spaces within which they are.
Mm-hmm. So are you still fighting for the land of the people? And do you think the land recompensation without a repossession without compensation is justified?
So I guess yes and no. My big thing is that I believe there's a huge need for informal businesses to be given rights for the areas where they operate. So for instance, a hawker in downtown Johannesburg, the city of Johannesburg kicks them off the streets from the places they've been operating sometimes for 20 years. You know, there are businesses I wrote about being selling in downtown Joburg on the street, selling for Amakwenya for 11, 12 years, and yet tomorrow the city can kick them away. And so I think there's a huge opportunity for how do we create rights for business. So I looked at land and kind of rural environments and land to live on. I very much in the gastronomic revolution said, one of the biggest problems with small businesses or informal businesses is that they aren't able to invest in their business. So the person on the street in Joburg can make 30,000, 40,000 Rand a month profit, but they cannot invest in better equipment, in more solid equipment, because tomorrow they can have their goods confiscated. So an outlet is using an old door instead of a table and using a KX cylinder on the ground. The opportunity to invest and grow in those businesses would be when they had the rights to that land. They would also be able to sell their business, because if you own the rights to operate in a certain space and you decide you want to retire or move on and you want to sell that business, you can't go to a pavement or a township business site which you don't have full rights to. So I think that's one of the fundamental opportunities, is creating business rights for the informal sector.
No, that's so true. And now that we have the lockdown, things are a bit more challenging and a bit more difficult for informal traders. Yesterday, I got a chance to speak to one of the members of the Alexandra Tourism Board, and he spoke about the challenges that they're currently facing right now with the small businesses and informal business, because that's their bread and butter, that's their school fees for their kids, that's basically their lives, and unfortunately such situations doesn't make it easy for them. What advice would you give to the fellow South Africans?
You mean right now or just generally?
Yes, now.
So I think that the lockdown will end. One of the big things that small businesses will do is that they will eat their stock, or they will go through the resources that they have. And I think that everyone should be right now saying, let's prepare for the day after the lockdown, because and so if we have money saved to buy stock when the day after the lockdown, we're going to want to go and buy stock so we can start selling food or vegetables or whatever it might be. I'm talking the businesses that are not essential services like spices and vegetable traders. So my big thing is, how do we prepare today for the next level? And that's on two levels. One is prepare to stock up, and the other one is that the restrictions around COVID-19 are going to continue for the next at least 6 months, if not a year. So how do we prepare to operate within those conditions? So how does a hair salon operate? How can they make sure that their social distance within their outlets, that they have elements that are needed, like sanitizing, whatever. Each one of these businesses needs to think, how do we build, how do we prepare for this today, both in terms of resources and second in terms of mitigating for infection. So, for instance, the fast food outlets in the township selling porters and amapleti and even shisanyams, can they convert to being takeaway? So they serve through a hatch. They don't have drive-throughs, but maybe it's walk-throughs. Is the equivalent of a drive-through, so that people aren't sitting in that outlet. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the biggest thing for me now. How do we prepare? We're all sitting at our home, or wherever we are. How do we prepare for the day after, which will be soon?
Yes, definitely. No, it will be. And then we don't want to be back to square one and not having a plan for the times that are to come. And lastly, where can we find your books?
So it's on Amazon now that we're on lockdown, and many of the digital platforms. And then otherwise, they're available at exclusive books and at and on Take a Lot. Or you can order it online and Take a Lot.
All right. So thank you so much for your time and for the lovely chat, and have yourself a lovely day.
Thank you.
Right. That was GG Alock, an author, political activist, as well as businessman, talking a little bit more about his life. The line was not very clear over there, but I hope you got to hear one or two things there. You can send us your comments to our WhatsApp line on 07061766035, and you can also send us your comments to our Facebook and Twitter pages in the comment section below. That's where you drop them. For now, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'll be joined by Sakina Dulamo.